mais nous n'importe côté nous aller monsieur puis nous devons suivre protocole là. Nous live monsieur sur the big station et puis nous avons une spéciale émission bon matin là. We have a very special and important program where we're going to pay tribute to a stalwart. We're going to pay tribute to one who has contributed tremendously to music, to the arts and culture of Dominica, and that's Archie Mitchell. We know him as Adrian, Archie Mitchell from the First Serenade Band, and we have known during this, before the Cadance-Lypso band sort of slowed down, very importantly, the RSB band, the First Serenade Band, and also WCK really brought back live music to the fore. So very instrumental was the Serenade Band. And with us this morning is the leader and former classmate of mine at the St. Mary's Academy, Carlton, Winston, and that's Archie's daughter, Arshmah Michelle. I suspect the Ash came from Archie. Am I right?
Yeah.
Good morning to you, Arshmah. Good morning to you, Carlton.
Morning, Waddix.
I know it's extremely difficult times, but we're going to pay tribute to a fallen hero to my mind. And let's start with Carlton first. I know that you guys have been the best of friends.
Oh, yes, Waddix.
And I remember the days when, you actually started as a group. I also remember the first hit, Zouk. Bring us back to your childhood days and how you knew Archie and even before you actually formed the Serenade Band.
Well, Archie grew up in Point Michel, just like myself. And we were friends from a very early time. They were in a little group called Zadras with Adrian Mitchell, Eric Badville, those guys. And then we moved up, when we met, we linked up, Ras Ozi, and we went into First Serenade.
Okay.
But, Archie was a man, I must say, awesome musician. That is what you call a natural. Some people like, Brian Lara is a natural in cricket. Messi, natural in football. I can say Archie was a natural on the bass. He played with his heart, his soul, and he really loved his music, the genres, be it Bouyon, be it Cadance. He loved the Cadance segment a lot. And Archie was always a man that always used to be there. As I was saying earlier on another program with Miguel, when we used to go out into the countryside, be it Viecas, Penville, Marigot, sometimes we had to bring back Archie because he had to go back to school.
I know.
And that was the time with Lofty and Radigan.
Yeah, because Archie came to the St. Mary's Academy a couple of years
after us, right. So that was guys like Waddix, Arnold Toulon. Archie and that guys like Eric Badwell came after. Cornell and those guys came after.
Because we
but I will not...
Smokey was, Maxime came a little after also.
Yes, Maxime, Joe
P and these guys.
But I will not talk too long. I will put an Arshmah who's here all the way from Tortola to come and she has come to pay tribute to her father. So I'll let her just...
Hi, good morning, Arshmah. How are you?
I'm okay.
And how are you coping?
Well, it comforts me to know he's in no more pain, no more suffering, no more hospitals, no more medications, just at peace.
Are you the only child of Archie?
Yes, and I have a little girl, so he has a granddaughter.
So he has a granddaughter. And how best would you remember him from your childhood?
He was humble. Everybody will tell you he was humble, he was quiet, he was to himself. I don't know, to me, in my eyes, he was popular, but he was just in his own bubble, right? But his music was everything. Music was everything.
And growing up with him, I mean, it would just be music?
Well, no, I had my times. I was a daddy's girl, and I was everything to daddy, yeah, basically.
so daddy spoiled girl.
Yeah, daddy raised
That's why he actually named you after him,
Arshmah. My daughter is named after him. She's
Adrian. So wow. Adrian Michelle,
yeah.
And then Arshmah from Archie, and then Adriana.
Yes.
So the legacy continues. And he was a super dad.
He raised me from baby to basically now. He sent me to school. He nurtured me. He did everything. He was a mother, a father. He was everything. So.
And in terms of the combination of his music and mid time for his music and also mid time for you.
Yeah, I remember as a child going out to the jams. I would be in the vehicle sleeping and...
You serious?
I would be on stage, sit on a speaker and stuff.
You serious?
Yep. I would be in the band house. I would rehearsals, I would be there.
He wanted you to be a musician, man.
He wanted me to play the keyboard, but that wasn't in me.
That wasn't in you.
Yeah.
And you would have experienced him, doing his thing live at the various.
Yeah, because the studio is downstairs our house, so he will be there all day. From morning, he wakes up, he drinks his tea, he go down till my grandmother would call and, Junior, come and get something to eat. You're not eating, you're just in the studio. And he would be there till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, all day, literally all day. But then what he produced, it was always fantastic. So it really paid off. All the hours, the long hours, it paid off.
And you then would have appreciated his music. I mean, the output, when you would finally know that's a production of your father, you would have been super proud.
Yeah, the support is overwhelming. That's what getting us by.
And in terms of, we know some 22 years ago, he actually fell ill. How that changed for you and then, for him and your relationship?
It never was a problem with me. I mean, I know he does the hospital visits and the medication. It was never a problem because he would still find time to drop me to school in the morning because I went to St. Martin Secondary. He would drop me to school in the morning, and he was very protective. So he didn't want me to be he didn't want me out there on the road with friends and
especially the male
going out carnival
especially
time.
The male friends.
Yes, carnival time. I would be on the truck sitting with him as a child.
Yes,
and even when I was in high school, he used to tell me, "Okay, go out for an hour and meet me back by mapping in before 10 o'clock. Meet me there at 9:30 so we can leave."
Yeah, because he was also an employee of
mapping.
Yeah.
So he would drop me to school. He would pick me up lunchtime, bring me home, and go back to work or go back to treatment. So he was always there. He was always at PTAs. He found time to help with homework. He was always there.
Okay, we'll get back a little to you, Arshmah, but then we also wanted to ask Carlton, very importantly, Archie, the role he played as the composer. He was an arranger. He was also the band leader.
Yes, and I'm the manager.
He was also, so he was the band leader and you were the manager.
Yes, a combination.
But then he also played a pivotal role in also. He was also the lead vocals.
Boy, he could do it.
And the bassist, I remembered, I was just before, when we confirmed that we were going to play this tribute, I remembered him telling myself and the late Poopa that he listened to Shiktai was one of his favorite.
Yeah, man. Gasoline.
Zouk bands.
Yeah.
And he once told me if I speed up Shiktai, I would have gotten the formula. So Shiktai was a Zouk band, and then a lot of he got a lot of ideas from some of the sequencing, some of the drum machines. But then Serenade sound. How important or critical was he to the sound of Serenade? Because Serenade sounded different from any other band in Dominica.
Well, I'll tell you, what I can say, Archie, my comrade, my brother, my friend, was an awesome musician. One of the best I've had the honor of playing with. Archie was not only a bassman, he was also a keyboard player.
Yeah.
And Archie did a lot of material. I mean, yesterday actually I went down to Portsmouth and had a flash drive all the way down. And I mean, this guy wrote a lot of songs, a lot of music. And Archie was a man because of his bass lines.
Yeah.
The bass lines he could play that used to just change Serenity.
No, but he not only play,
the groove.
Some musicians are responsible for the groove, the bounce.
The bounce, man.
You see, like how Fitzroy, made that difference. Cornell made that difference.
Yeah.
Archie had that difference with Serenade.
Yes, his bounce on the bass was a difference. And the combination of Archie with Badwill and Wayne Wilkins, Fat Boy, that was an awesome combination. I mean, those guys, they really made a difference. Stanley there on the engineering. But at the end of the day, Archie was a guy that was very instrumental in Serenade.
So the sound, he was one of the main people responsible for Serenade unique sound.
And the guy was also a prolific writer.
Writer, yes. So what are some of the songs he penned? What are some of the...
Kieba Mwen, Setiv Mwen Vle with Elisha Binoir. Actually, I worked with even Horsford. Actually worked with a lot of guys. A lot of musicians. Hunter, Checo, King JD. His early songs, Madman Coming to Town, all that was Archie. Archie did a lot of work. Super L in Toronto, actually. Toronto, Super L up there. We are meeting on thing on Sunday. We have an interview and he's going to talk about what Archie did for him in Body Slam.
Oh yes, that Calypso body slam. I can never forget that mega hit.
Yeah, man.
Archie was the one that based
that for him, man.
based on that particular that particular recording.
But I must say the music in itself kept Archie going. Even after when he fell sick in New York, he was on tour with Serenity and he fell sick. Archie
He was on tour when he fell sick.
Yeah, he was on tour, yeah.
You were in New York then?
Yeah, in New York City we were on tour.
What
playing.
was that experience like?
Boy, we were home chilling, hanging out, and then Archie just went to do seizures. And when I brought him to the hospital in New York, ambulance 911 and thing, they dropped him, and so they checked him out, and they said it was his kidneys. Wow. But then Archie never let that really hold him down, you know.
So he knew immediately that he had
New York, the
issues.
diagnosis in New York, I mean, America, then man, wow. Everything quick. But the music and the love for the music kept Archie going. It kept him going, even though when he couldn't play again because of the fistula in his wrist, he couldn't play the bass, he couldn't stand up for 2-3 hours. He went back into the recording studio, and that is where he recorded a lot of music.
Produced,
yeah, man. That is when even in the later days, you know, he'd come on stage and do backup vocals because he was always around, being around the band kept him happy, kept him going, you know. And actually, the band was registered to both of us. You know, both of us were really running the band.
Okay, Arshmah, you spoke earlier on of your his relationship with his granny, which is your great grandmother, or his mother?
His mother.
Oh, his mother.
Yeah.
So, was he the only child of his mother?
No, there are 4 of them, but he's the last. So
he's the last. He's always the baby, and
the only boy.
And the only boy. So, what was the effect, you know, on your granny? I know that would have been severe.
Yeah, she's not. I mean, 1 minute she's fine, and then the next minute she's not. But she'll get there.
It's like she's still in denial, not sure.
Yes.
But how was she coping with his ailment? I mean, because it would have been.
She was basically the caretaker. I mean, with his condition, he couldn't eat anything.
Yeah.
So she used to prepare the meals that he could eat and blend him the local juices and you know, talk to him about what to eat and what not to eat
and boil his food twice.
Yeah.
Boil his food twice.
Food has to be boiled twice, throw the water, boil it again. And he couldn't eat like food with a lot of potassium. So stuff like banana, coconut, plantain. He couldn't eat these stuff. But he liked stuff like, he loved KFC. He loved KFC. He loved stuff like black pudding. He loved Spider's pies, and he always used to go to Ronda's to get ribs. And he loved the fast food. He loved the nice time. But
well, what are some of the most fond memories? You know, when you go back as a child, what are some of the most fond memories? Because we're trying to remember him in the most positive light as possible.
As a child, I remember him, well, I don't know why he never bought coloring books, but he used to draw. He could draw well.
Okay.
So he had a clean pad. He used to draw characters and things, and he would have me color them. And he loved the beach. He loved the river. So we always used to go to the beach, go to the river, wash the vehicle.
Just hold that thought. We'll continue a while, but we just want to remind our listeners, this is Creole Heartbeat, brought to you with the kind compliments of IOM.
Children sometimes feel very anxious during and after disasters.
Children are afraid that
the event will happen again.
someone close to them will be killed or injured, or
they will be left alone or separated from their family.
Help young children in your care to cope. Involve them in disaster preparedness activities. Provide simple information about the hazards and any plans for their safety. Involve your children in updating your family disaster plan and disaster supplies kit. Allow children to help in creating a family communication plan and selection of meeting areas if they should become separated during a disaster, and ensure that children participate in school safety drills.
be prepared, be safe. A message from the Office of Disaster Management, brought to you by USAID and IOM.
If you plan to go to a public emergency shelter, be sure to pack your necessities, including non-perishable food items, water, personal items, and medication.
Remember, we are in a pandemic. Take care to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in shelters. Take soap, sanitizer, or rubbing alcohol and face masks with you. Wash your hands often, thoroughly, and with care. Cough in your elbow or a clean tissue. Remain in family clusters in the emergency shelter. Don't wait until it's too late to evacuate, and respect the rights of everyone to seek safe shelter during an emergency.
Contact the Office of Disaster Management at 448-7777 or visit the website at www.odm.gov.dm to find out where your shelter is located. A message from the Office of Disaster Management brought to you by USAID and IOM.
Another creation, Calty, of Archie. He preferred the Creole aspect of music.
Yes. And you know,
In the footsteps of let's say the Exiles, and even later on the
and even
the
Jacobs.
Salves.
You know, you like
He was like the Jacob of,
Yeah,
of and it's so sensitive. He died just a couple of days after
Jacob.
One he admired so much.
Yeah, admired Jacob. He believed in Jacob playing, you know. Yeah. He was into it, and he was into the Creole aspect of the music. He was like you.
I mean, we had several conversations in terms of the Creole, and I know he had some big dreams for Serenade. Would you be, I mean, with some of the big dreams he had for Serenade? I mean, you were so close. You were like, I mean, it was you and him running the band.
Yeah, two of us, running everything. But one of the projects he had in the pipeline was a remix of Pays Jolie, man.
Oh, Pays Jolie.
And he was going to do that with your boy, Stefan Ravo.
Oh, yes.
So that actually that is done, you know. He sent it to Ravo. I think all Ravo has to do is put down the vocals on it. But you know, that is so later down. We'll have to just look into that.
No, but that is does Stefan know he passed?
Yes, I sent the information to Stefan, yeah.
Okay, because he called me, I think, yesterday, but I missed it. I will try to get him.
Well, we know Wada and Matnik with COVID.
Yes, it's also crazy in terms of the Delta variant. You were talking about Arshmah, some of the fondest memories of your dad. We're talking about going to the river and...
As a child, he would, like, when I would go back up, we would always go to the car wash together. We would go by the riverside. He always had the guys washing his car. He always used to say, one of them was talented because one of them was into music, and then he went low, and then... So he used to tell me their stories.
He ever sang to you? He ever sang any songs to you? Or songs he planned on recording for the Serenade?
No, but he would send me over the phone, or I would be down in the studio with him at times. Or we would hear from upstairs because we used to hear everything going on.
You had a chance to critique any of his work, to say, Dad, I think you should add this, or take out this, or this is too much? You ever try singing on any of his songs?
No,
I can only do that.
I was never into the studio thing.
So in playing the keyboards, I mean, or trying to play the keyboards, I mean, you didn't have the affinity for it, or you?
I mean, if I had to go again, then I would have learned, just to make him see that I tried. But
I know. What are some of the lessons? Lots of times, fathers have that affinity with their daughters, you know, a close link. With their daughters, especially, you know, if you're just one daughter, one child, one daughter. What are some of the lessons in terms of, you know, now you can look back as an adult, you learn from your dad?
He would always say, take your time.
Take your time.
Life is not going anywhere. Take your time. And, yeah.
You did that?
Yeah.
You took his advice?
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to be here, but it was his decision that I leave because nothing wasn't going on here, and so I left. But we were always in contact. Everything he did, he sent it to me.
You migrated? How long ago you migrated?
6 years.
6 years ago, okay.
Yeah.
And how difficult was that to leave him, and he encouraged you then, or?
Yes, every year I would have told him I was coming back, and he would tell me, but Arshmah, you do have nothing, coming back to what?
Uh-huh.
So to me, it was his decision that I stayed.
To stay out there and try to make something out of yourself.
Yeah.
He advised you in most of your major decisions.
Yes, schooling. He was a big fan of school. Daddy knew all subjects. All homework that I brought home, he knew it. And he was a big math fan. So all the math problems that I didn't like, he used to solve them, and oh my God, I didn't like it.
I know.
He used to do everything. Math, he used to literally do everything. So he was a big fan of schooling. So he wanted me to further go as far as I can, you know. So he would push me in that field. He would always tell me, try to do a program, get back into school, do something.
Okay. When we get back to you, you will tell us you were on your way, or as a matter of fact, you were in Dominica when you heard of the news. But before that, I will give you a little chance to exhale a little. Carlton, I mean, Archie was not only phenomenal just for Serenade. He did quite a bit of work, and his work was, you mentioned earlier, he did stuff for JD.
Yeah, man.
And Hunter, and that you're talking about as a studio engineer.
Studio engineer.
And
musician too, because he backed up Ophelia too. He went on tour with Ophelia.
You went on tour with Ophelia?
Yeah, man.
And I remember you guys you played at the Mama Creole.
The Mama Creole, right.
Uh-huh.
We played at the Mama Creole. But even though when he couldn't play anymore, he was instrumental in practices, rehearsals. When Ravo came down, he was working out with us, do this, fix that. Guys, you keyboard man, play that. Drummer roll like that. Yeah, he was always there, man.
Even if he was ill, because we know it's some 22 years. I remember when you took part in the first NCCU band competition. He was also very instrumental in arranging everything. Tell us about that experience with him.
Well, actually, it was his second competition. He wrote 2 songs for us. It was Erica, with the passage of Hurricane Erica, Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. He wrote that song. And then Jouer Cadance.
Yeah.
He also wrote that. That was another.
Was that the song with Halibut and Lloyd?
No, Halibut is Riches of Dominica.
He
recorded that and worked on that too. Lyndon mastered it. He also, what other song he did? He did so much material. It's unbelievable, When I sit down and I listen, this guy was just awesome, man.
In terms of, let's say, bridging the gap, because it's critical for history. There were your 3 bands. I mean, RSB, Serenade, WCK. During the whole domination of sound system, including Waddix, including Scientific Rules, Synchronics, and these bands. Zouk. But then his contribution would have started there. And in terms of how important he was from then on until now, how would you regard it?
Boy, love for music, This man just loved music. I mean, SMA, I remember a couple of years ago you were telling me about Carlton, boy. Our generation, fellas that came from SMA was the last best generation. I can never forget you telling me that.
The last
best generation, fellas was into music, into something. Yeah. I can remember when, Waddix, Scientific Rules, A&M songs. Yeah. Dominated. It was hi-fi. You'd go to school.
But we would have played together a lot.
Well, we work with you guys a lot. Yeah,
Waddix, Serenity.
Ole come with us and we do what we do.
Ole was a hardcore Serenity fan.
And then
I was going to RSB, but Ole was going to Serenity.
So we used to run into the music, but then Archie was always this guy here, playing musical bass, playing musical music. He was really into it, and then he started to write at an early age, writing a lot of songs. And when you look back at the contributions, man, this man wrote a lot of material. Even Sai. When Sai went into the segment, Archie wrote his song, and that is a very powerful song for the cadence genre.
Yes, Arshmah.
Can we look at that song of Sai?
You wanted to play some more music?
Yeah,
what we try to do is to pay tribute to a fallen, to our mind hero, one who have contributed tremendously to the music of Dominica. So we're playing some of his works. He has a tremendous catalog of hits. So in between, you're playing some of his music. We'll open the lines a little later down so you could call if you knew him and you knew of his contribution and Serenade's contribution with he at the force. So let's take in another of his creations, Archie Mitchell.
Changer les ramasses des cachouets. Moi qu'à changer les excites des cachouets. J'aime bien te chanter, God nous te chanter. Liquidize des cachouets, des belles scambo te jouer.
Another creation of Archie Mitchell. And like I said, I mean, a tremendous catalog of music he left us. And we really try to pay tribute to, I mean, one who has really contributed tremendously to Dominica's music, arts, and culture. One who played with Archie for several years, now joining us, and that's Lloydie, the lead vocalist of the band Serenade. Good morning to you, Lloydie. What's up?
Yeah, good morning to you, Waddix, and the listeners of Q95 Radio.
Difficult times, my brother?
Yeah, man, difficult times, man, you know.
You would have come into the band, Serenade would have had, you know, made your name then, and you from the Wassin Warriors.
Yes. Yeah.
Back then, coming into a band. Tell us about your relationship with Archie then.
Well, I mean, fond memories, because the thing is all about Archie. From the time I joined the band, the transition, you know, the expectation will be bigger. As a young man coming into the band, you know, he made it a little easy for me because he made me feel comfortable. And he talking to me about the rudiments of entertainment. Talking, you understand, because you expect, you know, you come into a band where that basically make itself, and you come in as a young member, you know, and trying to give me certain tips, you know, how to do certain things, because he's seeing the talent, and but just to try to harness it and refine it, you know. Yeah, and
was he the one that recruited you or Calty?
Well, basically it was he, Calty, and Uzi.
And Uzi.
Because what happened that when Serenity was in the Haiti together, everyone, as a younger boy, he used to come on the chat and work. You know, Mark Cameron post. So I used to be, you know, you would look Archie, used to, you know, almost like a little group, you know, and Archie talking to him and, you know, showing the interest, because, you know, we're trying a little scene, you know, a little band of young boys. So you used to talk to him, give me little ideas, you know, and, you know, you're feeling nice. Look Archie summertime, you know, out of school. Look Archie, boy. You know, everybody posts, he was go down somewhere by the van and talk to me, and we don't want him to go because, you know, at the time, Archie on that bass, everybody talking about him, you know, yeah.
In terms of your writing, would you have collaborated in terms of writing songs together, writing, arranging, composing?
Yeah, like
tell us about that experience.
Like Shine Like a Happy, and a lot more other songs of First Serenade. You know, you should have tell him of an idea. He would sit down, you know what I mean, and he would tell me, okay, sing the melody for me, or tell me what you have, show me what you have, and then he would tell me, take that out. He would write that for me. Sometimes when I go home, leave the man house or the studio, every time I come back, he would call me and tell me, hey, Lloydie, I finished that, you know, come and check me tomorrow afternoon, and just go through it and tell me what you like. You know, he was an easygoing guy. And as I tell you, he always made people feel comfortable around him, because he always wanted to give musicians a chance. He always wanted to give people a chance.
He gave you that wholehearted chance.
Yeah.
To be yourself, to be creative.
Yeah.
And then he would also be your critic also, in
case
yes. You were overdoing it.
Yes. Yeah. One thing, to be honest, like if we go and play and, you know, so I might have done something that he wouldn't like.
Yeah.
He would not, you know.
He
would call me. Yeah, he would like them things, but you know, sometimes, you know, you take one or two and you might utter a word that, you know, not talking pleasant, you know what I mean? He would call me and tell me, you know, let me tell you. you know what I mean? Yeah. I straight tell me, you're a talented man, you're singing well, singing key, tone that down. He would, you know what I mean? He would. Now and then we would have a little Archie's a big man, boy. Archie's a big man.
So you know what to do your thing. You tell Archie you're a big man, you know. But then you would also try to
humble
down and humble.
Calm down. You know something, because, you know, as he tell me, you know, everybody have their spirit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he loved what I was doing at the front, and he would encourage me, because when I just started, remember, it was difficult for a few months.
Transition,
the
transition from one band to the next.
Yeah, to the next, and then so a big band and the crowd not
familiar with you.
Familiar.
And the thing about it, leaving and coming in the band, I think after Roy,
yeah, because
Roy was sensational. At the time.
They had Calfa. They had Calfa P, then they had Deros.
Deros,
all that before me,
Before you, yeah.
Yeah, so when I come in, that, the people just starting to, they already know you, and then you come in, and
so he kind of mentored you into your role.
Yeah, to Uzi, like, when you come out and play, and the problem, the crowd don't really move, he would tell me, don't worry, that man, that's how it is when you're starting off, it's just don't give up, and, something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the other day, my first travel with the band, we went to St. Martin, and then we played very well. I mean, the crowd really was into it, and he told me he was there, and he told me, see what I'm telling you. So I'm telling you, it's just
some of those lessons now you will have seen it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he guided me, he gave me a lot of guidance,
What would you, in terms of memories, when you look back, how many years are you with the band now?
Well, I started around 2001, 2002.
So you're talking about almost 20 years with the band?
Yeah, but what happened that, remember the band break up?
You get a yellow card at a certain time?
Yeah, remember we had a little
you get a
issue,
yellow
so
card.
I stayed up for a number of years. I come back with,
I come back.
So I didn't spell say completely, but I've been around the band for a little,
roughly about 20 years.
Around going in, going out.
What would you have learned from him that has really stuck to you, and you would try to, at least continue when you remember him every time you do a particular something that you continue?
Well, the thing is, what is really is the commitment
to music.
To music. That's what, Archie would be sick, and we would come to practice. And Archie would be home, and Archie not feeling well. But Archie will still come, if fellas are open there, and will still be there because...
You practice in his place?
In his place, yeah, and then he's the technician. Sometimes we actually rest yourself, we'll take care of that. Something not working, he will still get up and still come and fix the chord for us. Tell me, Lloydie, well, the mic is on 18, that is this, that, what I did. He will still come and sit down. He would still want to come with us, be on the stage, he'll be backing me up, he will still be there, it's a commitment.
Regardless of how he was, he would
just wanted to see
Serenade
is still there. And that he wanted that so much, and he's not a selfish guy, that when he was playing a certain time, because we like him on the bass, when Archie had that bass, I say, fellas, Lloydie, Carlton, I can no longer do it. Get somebody else.
He told the band that.
Right? He told the band that, yes. He said, boss, I can no longer do that because his hand is cramping. Yes. Can no longer do it. Get a bass man. I can work with him and everything, but I can no longer stand up and play.
How difficult was that for you guys?
Man, we check him, boy, because Archie is irreplaceable. Not taking nothing from no bass player, but Archie had that touch. Because I remember I went to Guadeloupe with Serenity, right? And we just sound checking, and Archie like his cassette, and Archie like his Zouk. So Archie, they're working out some decimals.
Jacob.
Tun, 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 tun. So a fella was in the venue, listen to Archie. The man was the bassist Salah, and that's how I get to know the bassist. Bassist Salah. So formidable, that means
formidable.
Good. The man tell Archie, I want to buy that bass immediately.
You serious?
Just like that. That was a white bass guitar.
Yeah.
So Archie tell him, and Archie said, laugh. Archie said, no, I'm not having it. I tell you, that's what I shake up.
You going for the money?
Yeah, so the man tell Archie to play with the bass tonight.
And after,
as he finish,
you want to buy that?
Yeah, as he finish, he jump, boom, the man will jump. And I watching Archie coming along the boat without the bass. Yeah, man, he's just smiling.
Yeah,
the man paid him.
2
or 3 times in the market
more,
price.
More for that bass.
For that bass. And I was checking, boy, when a man can play. But he doesn't hear him. And basically it's not the bass, but it's man behind the bass. But he doesn't hear him.
Because you can have the bass and you cannot make it sound
like. You can song and just the mid what Archie was playing, it get him and just checking, I want that bass.
In terms of, we knew we had several other bands during the time of the Serenade Band. When you joined, WCK, powerful in terms of that rivalry, CK, Serenade, that was a big rivalry.
Yeah.
And in terms of your commitment to practicing, to perfect your art, to your craft, because you had that opponent and WCK
Yeah.
was formidable.
Yeah.
How important was he then in really
Well,
getting...
he was the musical director. I mean, he would contact me because remember I live all the way down on the West Coast. Yeah, he would contact me and say, hey, we're practicing that night. You know what I mean? And then when we sit down, then most of the songs, like when we're going to play out, like in a jam, like he would give me the opportunity to say what I would like to sing, like to flow and what I was comfortable in doing to get to the crowd, you know? And then he would tell me, okay, that one cannot work because that, you know what I'm saying?
So you would come with certain songs that you figure that can rock the crowd.
And then he would bring, and then we would sit down, and I, sit down because at the time, he had his basic guitar and the machine, so he tell me, well, I think that one, if you put that one for chords to flow there, that what, he was committed, man, Serenade, man. He just, he just wanted to see his band, even though he cannot be on the stage playing, but he just wanted his band to be there. And he always said, doesn't matter what happened, try to keep the band going. Lloyd. He always tell me that, try to keep the band going.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we are here on the big station, compliments IOM. When we come back, we'll be speaking to Arshmah.
I begin you live a free pure Dominica lifestyle for man, woman and child. I begin you live a free pure Dominica lifestyle for man.
La Dominique gen tendance dans ça qui gen awe ak glissement terrain qui ka mortel ak destructif. Go la play sous timon à pic ak tremblement terre fort parfois déclencher glissement terre. Activité tant pour travail construction ak pratique agricole qui faible capable augmenter tout risque pour un glissement terre. Les ou jouer rôle ça aide réduire effet dans glissement terre pendant ou faire bonne utilisation terre tant coup terrassement, canalisation de l'eau, partie miraille rempart au soir pour timon à pic ak végétation pour qu'un terre. C'est pour habiter avec pays côté ou rete et puis travail pour comprendre plus bien risque ou yo. Préparez-vous, faites attention. Un message qui sorti dans bureau gestion des as qui SAID à OIM de côté pour. La Dominique a tendance dans ça qui gagne away avec danger naturel. Donc, volcan, tremblement de terre, cyclone, inondation et glissement terrain. Nous tous devons apprendre à vivre avec danger ça. Faire préparation yon partie dans la vie chaque jour. Songez bien, faire un plan urgence, paquet tous urgence et puis rester informé. Travail comme volontaire à comité des assois. Contactez le bureau gestion des as pour toute information sur préparation urgence ou bien relais dans 448 77 77 611 44 12. Ou soit visitez site internet là dans www.odm.gov.dm. Préparez-vous, faites attention. Un message qui sortit dans bureau gestion des as qui SAID à OIM de côté pour.
Cadence, les musiques nous, première musique Dominique. Bouyon Serenade. Dancer. Moi t'en n'en pas chez mon cani blaché. Pour qui c'est cadence nous qu'a joué. Yo pate ici pour yon volotin. Pate sap sa ka fait dans le pays là. Cadence c'est fondation musique nous. Nous passe à pas jouer parce que il nous. Nous que jouer cadence. Bouyon cadence. Même si yo allé yo ka blaché. Même si yo allé a critiquer. Nous pas wall yo take play parler. Nous ka jouer cadence qui nous n'aime.
This is the big station. We are live as we paying tribute to my brother who has been, so talented, has gone to the wild beyond. We'll be speaking to Arshmah, his daughter, and we are here with Lloydie and also with Carlton, Winston. But as a matter of fact, we're going to speak to a special brother from the same neck of the woods as she paying tribute to the special brother.
Hey, Waddix, how you doing, man? Matt's in the morning, and you're saying now, my deepest sympathies to Archie and his family. He was a good brother, and the full team, Serenade team, will miss him greatly. Not only Serenade, but the people of Juan Michel. Again, lots of love, my deepest sympathies to Archie, Adrian Michel, and his family. Lots of love.
This was a special tribute from by the way, Matt. Very instrumental. As a matter of when Carlton told me the situation with Archie, and I asked him to get permission from Archie if we could do a special fund, for him, a radio fund. And Matt was the first person to agree. We could do that, and we needed a letter, from the doctor to actually state what is his health situation. And Matt was already on board, even from New York, to be part of this particular fund, but it wasn't to be because we got a little late and there was so much restrictions. But Arshmah, you would have been on your way to see your dad, and because you knew he was ailing, and you felt something different was happening.
Yeah.
What was it?
The first night that they said he was on his way to the hospital, and I spoke to him and I saw him, I knew something was wrong. Mm-hmm. In all the years he has been sick, I have never seen him like that. So I knew I had to get here as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. But the flying and the restrictions and all of that was a problem. When I finally got a flight, I flew in on last Friday, and I had to quarantine for 7 days. Mm-hmm. But it was hard to get a hold of him as well because of all the restrictions at the hospital. We couldn't go in, and he couldn't operate the phone because of the hand situation and stuff. So different people was going to him, nurses, and they were calling us to see him and stuff. And the last day I spoke to him was the Monday.
He died on the Tuesday?
He died the Tuesday.
And I spoke to him on the Monday?
Yes, I told somebody to go out and, find out if he needs anything. Let me speak to him, just let him know we're there. So I told him, well, Daddy, I came in, I came in Friday. I brought Adrian to see you. And when he saw us, he was alert.
Yes, he was alert.
Yeah.
That was Monday night.
Yeah, that was the afternoon. Monday late afternoon. And he said, I just want to see you, I just want to see you. Come and see me. And I knew something was wrong at that time. So I told my auntie, look, something not right. I told my aunts, go down to the hospital and see if they could, access, see what's going on. And unfortunately, they didn't have any access.
Yeah, because at that time, I think the hospital...
Yeah. But I told him we're here. He said, I know, but I don't know if I'll get to see you. I said, what, just
serious?
Try. Yeah.
You felt he was going down?
I told him, well, we didn't feel it. I mean, he just go low and he just always come back up. So we thought, that's just one of the falls and he'll come. So I told him, just try to get better. I'm here. Adrian's here. My aunts are there. Everybody's there. Just get better so you can come home. We're going to be there as long as possible and everything like that. Just get better and everything will be okay. Don't worry about anything. We're here. And the Tuesday night he passed. So I just feel like he just wanted all of us to be there as a family, and he's at rest.
How you felt when you heard the...
Well, I took it had the Monday. When I called and he said he wanted to see me because I couldn't do nothing. I was ready to leave quarantine and go,
You almost left quarantine?
I almost left quarantine and go, but it hit me harder the Monday than it did the Tuesday.
Because you really felt that
when he was
your last
asking to see
opportunity.
me, I felt it was the Monday than when he actually passed. But like I said, the only comfort I have now is to know everything is over. He's in no more pain because his last days were really, really, really painful. Yeah. It was really hard to see him like that.
Tell us about that experience, that closeness you had, seeing your dad suffering to that extent, knowing him differently.
Yeah, if I could have gone through it instead of him, I would.
You would have gone?
Yeah, because
if you had a choice,
if I had a choice, I would have took it.
You would have agreed if I had to take you instead and leave him alive.
Yeah, even on the dialysis, he would be there and I would just be around not doing anything. And the nurses knew me and him that well that nobody wasn't allowed in there. But they used to allow me to come in there just as a company for him while he on the dialysis, me and him talking. I would get him something to eat and we just vibing.
Was he on the waiting list for kidneys, or it was too late for something like that?
No. I don't think that was never
an option.
That was never in the process, no.
Okay.
No, we never.
I think when his leg got broken, when his leg got broken.
Okay, come closer, Lloydie. Come closer, Carlton.
A few years ago, his leg got broken. He was in an accident, and the leg healed crooked.
Because of his situation, they couldn't operate. They said he would lose so much blood.
Yeah.
So he stayed at hospital for about 3 months with the leg. So it healed by itself, but it didn't heal as well as if they had the surgery on it. So it held crooked. So he had like a limp. So maybe one shoe would be higher than the other. But he overcame that. He overcame that, and he started walking, and he was good. He was driving. He was in everything. He was in everything. That's the only time that he stopped working mapping. When he had that accident, that's the only time that he stopped working mapping. But throughout the sickness, he was working, climbing poles, doing everything.
Climbing poles?
Yes. Running his wires, setting up people's houses, phones, internet cable. He was doing all of that.
He was, mentally tough individual. Yeah. And he never allowed that, that health challenge to keep him back.
He was a chief tech at mapping actually.
A chief tech. Yeah. But just prior to his passing, he also had another major challenge, Carlton, in terms of where he would actually receive the injection.
Yes, for his dialysis, because the fistula in his hand had stopped working in his wrist.
It got a clot.
It got a clot in there.
A clot, yeah.
So they used to dialysis from the neck.
There was no specialist here to clear that clot.
To clear that clot.
This is the second time it happened. The first time he went to St. Lucia and he had a successful surgery. They put one, and then in February, I think, he called me and he told me, well, we have a problem. The fistula is blocked again, and with all the restrictions, COVID, and he doesn't want to fly out, and something happens to him and he gets more sick. Yeah. So we just gave it time, but in the meantime, they gave him a catheter on his chest. But the thing with the catheter is every now and then it was getting infected, and he had to put in a next one. And that too, he wasn't getting to dialyze as he should, because in every other day he would dialyze Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and
3 days a week.
Yes, for about 4.5 hours or less. And sometimes he would not get the treatment, or sometimes he would get about an hour or so. But still, he never make it bother him, because when you call, you say, Daddy, you get to dialyze. He say, no, but I good. I don't feel in no way. I'll just take in less liquid, and I good. He was always good.
Wow. In terms of that mental toughness, Carlton, you're a teacher. You teach apart from playing music. What would you have learned from that mental toughness of what you actually was you brought up with and played music with for so many years? Serenade should be somewhere 30-something years now.
Yeah, 35. Yeah.
35. Yeah, man. But 35 years ago, Serenade. 35 years you played together. You were buddies. For several years. That mental toughness.
Well, the word I'll put for it is perseverance.
Perseverance.
Archie, with the sickness, yes, it didn't make it keep him back.
Was it a level of therapy?
Yeah, the music was a level of therapy.
Because I understood, despite his challenge, he continued, and his limitations, he continued to be an
integral part of Serenade, man.
And that helped him.
It helped him. Just to keep him.
Because in my research, he was possibly one of the longest people.
Man. Over 22 years.
Over 22 years.
Yes, Archie was on that, yeah.
On dialysis.
Yeah.
You think the music assisted him?
The music kept Archie going, man. That kept Archie going. Archie looked forward to that.
What about the support from let's say, Serenade members, his family, or the other family members? Arshmah, what was that like? Let's go with the family members first. Because it was. I can just imagine. I can imagine, and you would have experienced it, for 22 years, knowing that you have to go for the challenge. The support base, I would imagine, would be tremendously strong.
Yeah, because all of us knew the music kept him going. So
the music kept him.
Yeah, the music kept him going. So he would be in the downstairs studio doing his thing, and we would just leave him. And he would text me and tell me, hey, I'm going out to play, and he would send me songs. He would tell me, look for him live, or he going in this competition, or sometimes I would go just to look at him, just to be there. But he had full support. Everybody supported him in what he did.
Carlton, in terms of Lloydie, the bandsmen, your fellow bandsmen, you would have supported him tremendously. Yeah, because it can be extremely sensitive knowing that you're leader, because he was the leader of the band, your arranger, your mentor is ill, and it's also limited. It's also limited and challenged, but yet still he's there, and you would have seen, his level, going for it.
Yeah, see, what Archie had really loved, like, being around the bandsmen. Like if we're going out, you're on the bus.
You wanted to be there.
Yeah, we're talking, we're making joke. Sometimes I would leave and I come to town, I would call it, hey, you in the studio, I would pass and check in, we'll sit down there, and we'll be talking different conversations, you know, like that Ellis. The keyboard man would have go up there, all three of us, we there. He had liked that because, you know, instead like he was home, like, you know, weird out, you know, feeling lonely, you know. So going out and playing with us, on the bus, we talking, we backstage, he there with us, we made him feel part. Like, and he was band leader, musical director, you know, and he had love his music. Because imagine.
Will we hear Serenade possibly at the funeral?
Well,
yes.
There's a possibility?
We're trying because, as you know, it's
something similar to what we saw from Jacob is musical.
And there's a time he actually used to play at church. He and Carlton, they used to
during the time of Father Reggie Lafleur.
Yeah, he used
because I think Father Reggie Lafleur actually started the Serenade Band.
He used to say sometimes the beat's too slow, so he used to go and speed it up and have everything going nice.
Okay, just before we close down, Arshmah, what legacy you would like to be seen or to be observed for your father as you know, life have to continue? What sort of legacy would you like people to know and to notice and to remember your father?
Well, I know everybody will remember him because the support, and he's everywhere. He's everywhere. Everywhere you turn, I can't go on Facebook, he's there. He's on WhatsApp, he's everywhere, even internationally. Yeah. So I know people won't forget. I know the music is something that's always there. Even, I mean, the band not playing, but you're still hearing the music. Even in Totola, I passed and I heard his music playing, and I was like, oh, that's my father singing that song, and I couldn't believe it. But I know we won't forget him. He'll always be there, and I'm at peace with that.
Okay, Precious. What about you, Lloydie?
Well, we're gonna try. I mean, Archie would love that, to keep the band going. We're gonna try our best because normally before, like, you know, we come to practice, and if I didn't show up, he would call me and tell me, Lloydie, Gaston is a senior man. Gaston, don't do that. You have to come to practice. I do expect that. You really can't go see me. Make sure, and you know.
You're a bad boy, man, Lloydie.
No, you know, we go online last night. We were sitting tonight. You would call me. Make sure you come by. You know, I expect those behaviors from you, know. But I always, as you know, the band. I always have been a cool guy, very respective. Never turn my back on the band. I always there on time. The band playing at 10. Everybody know I always be there from 8:30. I always there. You know, actually like that. And he put that in my head, bro. We have to be on time. You know, and we're gonna try our best, Carlton. And the rest of the members, we're going to try our best to keep the band alive, you know, on behalf of his legacy. But I believe he's in a better place because, you know, I used to go to the hospital and visit Archie. And on a particular day, when I went there and saw Archie suffering, man, the foot. And so I just pain, man. I just, you know, I met you in town.
Yeah, when you met me in town, you tell me, you couldn't handle that, yeah.
I just left the hospital, man, suffering, you know. God knows best, and, you know, he's in a better place, you know, the pain and the suffering, because he was suffering a lot, man, I can tell you.
Okay, final was a culture. Would you like to see your brethren, your comrade, your fellow member be remembered? You know, his legacy, you know, how would you like to see that and be part of keeping that legacy?
Well, Waddix, Archie is gone, but Archie will not be forgotten. Archie will live through his music. Archie was my friend for a long time, you know, and
okay, I know at this point in time a little emotional, and Carlton can't finish. But Arshmah, I really want to thank you for coming here to share these words and allowing us to learn and to be educated on the other side of your dad. We know him as the bass man with that groove and that bounce, and we also have a catalog of music that we'll continue to remember and play, and anything we can do from our end. The big station, Creole Habit, will feel free to call on us. We know sometimes people, you know, tend to feel that while someone is alive, they should be getting all the flowers. By the way, I gave him an award in 2006 at a Cadance show we had at the Newtown Savannah. I'm not sure if you saw that award.
Yeah, we have all the plaques at home.
Yes, so we just want to take it easy, and the father knows best. Take courage. So from us at the big station, from DJ Slim, from Mr. Sheridan Gregoire, Creole Habit, and the management of Creole Habit, we really want to sympathize with you and your family And your father will continue to live on. As long as I live, I will continue to play his music. That's guaranteed. I have done so for 35 years, so it's not now I'm going to stop. And that's a guarantee. Take care. Be safe, most of all, especially during these times. And may God continue to richly bless you and your family.
Thank you.
All right.